Welcome to my favorite poem project hosted by Washington-Centerville Public Library. I'm Debbie Dockins and I coordinate author and writing workshops, book discussions, writing contests, and the Speakers Bureau for the library. Tonight we have gathered some of the finest local poets we have in the Miami Valley, students, members of the library and our community and our Board of Trustees to celebrate April as National Poetry Month. As we move through the evening, each poet or reader will introduce themselves and then read the poem they've chosen. Some are original works, others are not. Some are whimsical and light, and others are reflective and possibly dark. Absorb them all. All right, so I have chosen a poem called Legacies, and it is from Joe DiMaggio, Moves Like Liquid Light by Springfield, Missouri poet Lauren Broaddus. He's a high school teacher. It's a wonderful collection. It's not just about baseball, but it's also about life. So Legacies. Black as soothing nightfall after glaring summer sunlight, Karri cared for the blonde granddaughter of Mr. William, delighting in her, daily telling the child stories of Joe DiMaggio, the way he rounded second base like liquid light, and later of Mickey Mantle flying too close to the sun. But what speed, what power in the wrists, always omitting from the tail the Jim Crow section of the stands from which she was forced to watch. She helped the little girl grow, gain footing in a swirling world, maybe hoping the great grandson someday far off will take to baseball and to baseball games, take his children, children who might hear histories told of Bud Fowler and Moses Fleetwood Walker, Satchel Paige, cool Papa Bell, and Jack Roosevelt Robinson. Even later still, attempting to understand that simple answers cannot begin to explain complicated legacies. Our next reader was the Good Life Award champion, the winner for this year. She is a freshman at Oakwood High School. So she couldn't be with us, but I asked her to read. Oops, sorry.
I'm not getting sound.
I can't hear anything either.
Okay. Sorry. Well. Oh, technology is a wonderful thing until it's just not really a wonderful thing. So. Well, I'm not positive how to fix this. And you can't hear her, and she is up as high as she can be, but you don't hear it. So you know what? I'm so sorry, Taylor, but we're going to have to skip you.
Can she
So
unmute herself?
she can't because she's a video.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sorry. It was a lovely poem. So all right, let me find Gary over here. Oh, jeepers. All right, there we go. There you are. I see you.
I'm here.
I see you. Just a minute. All right, Gary, are you unmuted?
Yeah, I think so.
You are good to go.
I've been to Stonehenge on the Salisbury Plain in England twice. The first time my wife and I hitchhiked, and the second time we went on a bus. So the first poem I'm going to read is called The Blue Stones. We headed for a blue more monumental than we had ever expected. Only bluish gray in dry weather, while rain washed us to pale tourists. With rain, there is blue tinge, rubbed and polished with human oil. We were the stones, towering, separated, buried where we stood. Deliberate transport had rolled us here to stand our impermanence next to some 80-odd stones, an abstract architecture of our past. A circle of uprights floated here on slow water by companions on dry ground sledges. Built to conquer all distances, driven to run fierce tide races, told to compete with whirlpools and eddies. We too had survived, like skin stretched on articulated frames. For us, no altar stone, no primitive reason to want monuments erected by handiwork obliterated with piercing dust. Our temple was the blue hardness in our hands. And the second is called the Sarsen Stones. Just as we encountered the blue stones years ago, they seem to be the older stones, memorials to hundreds buried where they once stood. No blue thumbs carried us this second trip, only a double-decker tour bus, not to touch those monuments, but to see over the cyclone fence. We could not imagine the generations of pilgrims, perhaps not unlike us, using the labor of thousands to transport these stones across the Salisbury Plain. Although we had come to believe that natural forces would obliterate any monoliths we could erect, thus excluding us from erecting Ozymandias-like markers. We did appreciate the ancient architecture and design, perhaps not as an observatory for the moon and sun, nor a vaginal birth canal for Earth Mother's progeny. Now late in our marriage, we felt healed, renewed in our primitive urges, not an energy-centered magic, but an environmental connection with the mind's imagination. We too had built a circle of relationship, a center held in spite of quakes and fissures, our own community of two, ready to pass on our monument of remembrance. Lucky us that we can produce lines without alien help to structure our own mysterious infrastructure that no one else can decipher, though the language and form exist. Perhaps we will never return. Not even a DNA might convince us to seek relatives, for why would we need to see what we have built when we know in our bones love? And back when Robert Pinsky had the favorite poet project when he was poet laureate, I chose this poem by Richard Wilbur, one of my favorites. Love calls us to the things of this world. The eyes open to a cry of pulleys, and spirited from sleep, the astounded soul hangs for a moment bodiless and simple as false dawn. Outside the window, the morning air is all awash with angels. Some are in bed sheets, some are in blouses, some are in smocks, but truly there they are. Now they are rising together in calm swells of halcyon feeling, filling whatever they wear with the deep joy of their impersonal breathing. Now they are flying in place, conveying the terrible speed of their omnipresence, moving and staying like white water. And now of a sudden, they swoon down into so rapt a quiet that nobody seems to be there. The soul shrinks from all that it is about to remember, from the punctual rape of every blessed day, and cries, "Oh, let there be nothing on earth but laundry, nothing but rosy hands in the rising steam, and clear dances done in the sight of heaven. Yet, as the sun acknowledges with a warm look the world's hunks and colors, the soul descends once more in bitter love to accept the waking body, saying now in a changed voice as the man yawns and rises, "Bring them down from their ruddy gallows. Let there be clean linen for the backs of thieves. Let lovers go fresh and sweet to be undone, and the heaviest nuns walk in a pure floating of dark habits, keeping their difficult balance." Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now I'm looking for Macey. Sorry. There you are.
Hello.
Hello. You're up.
All right. So the first poem is called "A Shell Accomplishes in a Second What We Can't in a Lifetime." And I wrote this poem after a vacation in Florida when one night I was walking on the beach and I accidentally stepped on a very sharp seashell. It made me think about the power of physical scars, how when you look at your own scars, or maybe someone else's, they hold a story or a memory that sticks with you for a lifetime. When we look at the scars, we remember the story of how they came about. And so I feel like humans often wish that they could have such an influence. We wish to have the power to be remembered. So, a shell accomplishes in a second what we can't in a lifetime. The warm sand melts between my toes, bam. A sharp, searing pain spikes from my foot to my leg, leaving my right half tingling. It happens to be a shell, all ivory spined, standing in the right place at the right time in this vast ocean, demanding to leave something behind, nagging to be seen. The shell is a part of me. It's branded on my foot, on my soul. And then the second poem I chose to read is Closure by Amanda Gorman. And I chose to read this poem because the author compares life to an ever-shifting story. I particularly like that the title is Closure because the words Amanda Gorman writes actually makes it feel like the beginning of something, which is maybe how we should view life, not as an event that eventually ends, but as something that has opportunities that present numerous new beginnings. Closure. To begin again isn't to go backwards, but to decide to go. Our story is not a circle carved, but a spiral shed, shaped, spinning, shifting inward and outward ad infinitum, like a lung on the bank of speech. Breathe with us. We disembark both beside and beyond, who we were, who we are. It is a return and a departure. We spiral on, pushing up and out like a growing thing making its form out of earth. In a poem, there is no end, just a place where the page goes wide and waiting like a lifted hand poised and paused. Here is our bond, unbordered by bone. Perhaps love is how it feels to breathe the same air. All we have is time, is now. Time takes us on. How we are moved says everything about what we are to each other, and what are we to each other, if not everything.
That was lovely. Thank you, Macey. Now we're going to hear from Ron Rollins. Let me find you, Ron. There you are. Ask you to unmute.
Okie doke.
Whenever you're ready.
I figured in this group somebody should read for this event should read a Paul Laurence Dunbar poem, and I didn't want it to have to be Herb because because that burden's always on him. So this is called Invitation to Love by Paul Laurence Dunbar. I recently selected this for a friend to read at her wedding. It's lovely. Come when the nights are bright with stars, or come when the moon is mellow. Come when the sun, his golden bars, drops on the hayfield yellow. Come in the twilight, soft and gray. Come in the night, or come in the day. Come, O love, whene'er you may, and you are welcome, welcome. You are sweet, O love, dear love, you are soft as the nesting dove. Come to my heart and bring it to rest as the bird flies home to its welcome nest. Come when my heart is full of grief, or when my heart is merry. Come with the falling of the leaf, or with the reddening cherry. Come when the year's first blossom blows. Come when the summer gleams and glows. Come with the winter's drifting snows, and you are welcome, welcome. I like Dunbar. This is one I wrote, with apologies to several people in this group have already heard it, but I still like it. It's called Mother Killdeer. Over here, look, over here. Not there, not there. No, there's nothing. Nothing for you. Nothing you want there. No, 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 nothing you want. No, nothing you need to look here. Look at me. Look here. Look at me. I can't move. See, I'm helpless. I can't fly. There is nothing for you over there. Here. Here is where I am. Look over here. There are no babies. No babies there for you. No babies. You would want me. I can't fly, can't fly, can't fly. No, 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 no babies there. You want me. I'm here. See me. No, no, no. I want you to come over here. Come this way. No, I can't fly. There are no babies there. None. Take me. Take me. Take me. Take me. Take me. That's it.
Very good. Yay. Thank you, Ron.
Well, thank you for the
Jan.
invite.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. You ready, Jan?
I am ready.
All righty.
Good evening, everybody. As everyone probably knows by now, I'm very much impressed and inspired by the natural world, and my poetry tends to reflect that. This first poem is called Falling. The hummingbirds have all but gone. One last good feeding, and they will chitter goodbye, cock tiny heads, wing away. Garden beds lie sated, their runway done, the once sturdy stems reduced to leafy litter, a compost heap of marigold bouquet. I love fall, but as I stand, a human gnome among the golden queens of wildflower glow, I recognize the lament of dying things, the shiver beneath the leaf. Unbidden, a moan escapes my throat, and on the cool air flows, smoke-like, into a purple aster ring of sculpted fields and autumn's embroidered art. Melancholy, I fold summer into my scrapbook heart. My second poem is also the nature and science, a little bit of blending of the two, with some whimsy to it. There is one word in here that can be pronounced two different ways, so if I don't pronounce it the way you're used to, I hope you will forgive me. The poem is called Phases, the Moon and Me. The sky wears an ebon shawl, stars glitter. Are you there, moon? I'm out, lost among the dark spun litter of glass and grass and doubt. Hidden, she titters. Come out, I pout. No reply to my petulant beckoning. A day passes, then two. I stand stout where I have stood before, reckoning on curiosity. Then her waxing grin, a thin, sly smile of chagrin and rue. I caught you blinking, she twits, Then giddy lays a faint fragile hue on every cloud that silent lies between my questing and the lip of evening. Later, do not look aside, she chides, her waxing gibbous blip so close to full-blown glory now as she preens, proud Diana's crush, full to bursting, a pregnant cow gorged bright on soul's milky gush. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Mindy Hoffbauer, I'm sending you a note to unmute.
Got it.
All right, replace the spotlight. And whenever you're ready.
I would like to share tonight a poem written by my uncle for my great-grandmother. Every poem to commemorate her birthday. And she lived to 109. So this was the birthday poem that he wrote for her 101st. I would also like to say that my great-grandmother always drank milk in her tea, and she loved these little peppermints. My grandma has lived to 101, which is one of the world's neatest feats. So everyone wants to know just how it's done. They want to know just what she eats, what foods she'd embrace, and which ones she'd shun. So here are the rules Grandma often repeats. For a century, I've been devoted to a diet that's all color-coded. So listen and heed, it's all that you'll need. That vitamin theory's outmoded. If it's white, dump it into your tea. If it's green, better say none for me. If it's striped red and white, then you know it's all right, because a finer food just couldn't be. Most brown food can be pretty tasty. Brown bread, peanut butter, and pastry. Brown gravy is cool, but under that pool might be green stuff, so don't be too hasty. Now, purple stuff tends to be tricky. It just might be beets, which are icky. If it's jam and it's grape, don't let it escape, and don't fret about getting all sticky. To trick me, it's often been tried, serving veggies all battered and fried. But I'm not some dumb kid. I know what they did. It's all still green deep down inside. And as if green isn't hidden enough in the soup and the stew and the stuffing, you better look quick. They might try to stick zucchini bits into your muffin. On the subject of eating, no more can be said. So go home and try it till you get it down right. But before you go dine on the white and the red, I have two small requests to make here tonight. Kindly leave those potato chips here by the bed and get these old collard greens out of my sight.
Oh, that was great, Mindy. Thank you so much. All right, Andrew. Oh, somebody's got a cough. I hope you're going to be okay. Andrew.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I'm Andrew Yuker. I'm an English teacher at Centerville High School. I teach creative writing, and I'm also the poetry club advisor. And tonight I'm going to read a poem by Sharon Olds. She's one of my favorite live poets. And this is called The Race. And it's about one thing that she does really well is she writes about her family, sort of objectively. And so this is a poem about her father. And a very difficult time for her getting to see him for the last time. So The Race. When I got to the airport, I rushed up to the desk, bought a ticket. 10 minutes later, they told me the flight was canceled. The doctors had said my father would not live through the night, and the flight was canceled. A young man with a dark blonde mustache told me another airline had a nonstop leaving in 7 minutes. See that elevator over there? Well, go down to the first floor, make a right. You'll see a yellow bus. Get off at the second Pan Am terminal. I ran. I, who have no sense of direction, raced exactly where he told me. A fish slipping upstream deftly against the flow of the river. I jumped off that bus with those bags I had thrown everything into in 5 minutes and ran. The bags wagged me from side to side, as if to prove I was under the claims of the material. I ran up to a man with a white flower on his breast. I, who always go to the end of the line, I said, "Help me." He looked at my ticket. He said, "Make a left and then a right, go up the moving stairs and then run." I lumbered up the moving stairs. At the top, I saw the corridor, and then I took a deep breath. I said, "Goodbye to my body, goodbye to comfort." I used my legs and heart as if I would gladly use them up for this, to touch him again in this life. I ran, and the bags banged against me, wheeled and coursed in skewed orbits. I have seen pictures of women running, their belongings tied in scarves, grasped in their fists. I blessed my long legs he gave me, my strong heart I abandoned to its own purpose. I ran to gate 17, and they were just lifting the thick white lozenge of the door to fit into the socket of the plane. Like the one who is not too rich, I turned sideways and slipped through the needle's eye. And then I walked down the aisle toward my father. The jet was full, and people's hair was shining. They were smiling. The interior of the plane was filled with a mist of gold endorphin light. I wept as people weep when they enter heaven, in massive relief. We lifted up gently from one tip of the continent and did not stop until we sat down lightly on the other edge. I walked into his room and watched his chest rise slowly and sink again. All night, I watched him breathe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Karri, I've sent you a request to unmute.
Thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome.
My name's Karri, and I chose a poem because I made a huge life change about 3 months ago, and this poem just spoke to me. It's called For a New Beginning, and it's by John O'Donohue. In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. Thank you.
That was wonderful, Karri. Well done. Hi, Barbara.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Whenever you're ready.
I am ready, and I'm going to read a lovely poem by Roger Fortman, who you will hear soon. When Roger teaches coping with life's predicaments at UD Lifelong Learning, he has shared his poetry, and this is very early morning. At 3 a.m., the veil is briefly lifted. The darkness is more penetrable. Being present is effortless, and breathing is audible. Ego and soul are friends here. Great peace abides. Now is the time to present questions to the oracle. Who in my dream is ringing the doorbell in the middle of the night? Why is the great lion demanding my attention? What is the sleek black panther seeking, facing me head to head? Messengers from the unconscious, waking me up to a deeper life. The oracle speaks in the soul's silent language, and I realize I am being called to be fully present, to I as the observer, and to you as the voice of the other. I step into the joy and pain. Your joy touches my joy, and your pain touches my pain. I keep my heart open and walk into the mystery. Together we face the wild beasts. The oracle's message is clear. Keep your door open and allow the light to come in. Step into the soul of another and unceasingly listen to the wisdom of deep silence.
Very nice. Thank you, Barbara. Hello, Roger.
Hello.
Very
evening.
good follow-up.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara.
Whenever you're ready, Roger.
Okay. By background, I'm a licensed counselor, teacher, and executive coach. But about 5 years ago, I woke up at 3 a.m. and a poem came to me, and this is the poem that came. But since then, most of my poetry comes early morning. It seems like a different world and a different language. So here's the poem. There is a place where light and darkness meet to soothe a longing heart. A place where humility is a way of life, creating waves of peace on a chaotic ocean. A place where angst is welcomed as a friend to stir the heart and soul. A place where the messiness of life is able to be accepted on our journey to find the way home. A place where compassion is felt for self and others, and the inner critic withers away. A place where you and I are one, and we dance together as if we have always known. There is a place where love is fully present, and eternity a breath away. Thank you.
That's lovely. Thank you very much, Roger.
You're welcome.
Hello, Liz.
Hello, Debbie. Good evening, everyone. My name is Liz Fultz. I'm the director of the Washington-Centerville Public Library. I picked Reprise as my poem by Ogden Nash. Today is my wedding anniversary, so I wanted to pick a love poem. But after 24 years, most of them that I was reading seemed a little overly mushy. So I picked this one because I thought it was very cute and very sweet. Geniuses of countless nations have told their love for generations, till all their memorable phrases are common as goldenrod or daisies. Their girls have shimmered like the moon, or shimmered like a summer moon, stood like a lily, fled like a fawn, now the sunset, now the dawn. Here the princess in a tower, there a sweet forbidden flower. Darling, when I look at you, every aged phrase is new, and there are moments when it seems I've married one of Shakespeare's dreams.
I
Thank you.
love that last line. Thank you very much, Liz. Hi, Julie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm thrilled that you can be here and read for us.
Well, thank you all. It's good to see familiar faces of some longtime friends of mine. I am actually living in Indiana now. I moved from the Dayton area 5 years ago, but I visit often because my mom lives in Beaver Creek. And this poem that I'm going to read tonight it's a poem I wrote after visiting my mom a couple of months ago and hearing a political ad in the Dayton area for a particular candidate that I would not vote for at this point in my life, but way long time ago, I did vote for once, and now I'm kind of horrified to admit it. And so basically what this poem does is it's weaving together verses and images from America the Beautiful, and it has an epigraph, in fact, from that song. And it's weaving in as well a part of that ad, which was really an ad embedded with white supremacy, because it was lobbying against critical race theory, which is a whole nother discussion for another day. But if you're not familiar with it, it's basically just, right, it's a legal theory from law schools that look at the intersection of how laws impact people, and especially if they have multiple identities, and how laws can catch them in certain intersections and really hurt them, really oppress them. And it also weaves together a song I was listening to on the radio at the time, because the poem is also about me driving down a country road here in Indiana, which all the locals refer to as Devil's Backbone for good reason. And on the radio that day, Green Day was singing American Idiot. So I like to write some poems like this that are really tossing some balls up in the air and then weaving them all together, juggling them, if you will. The line from America the Beautiful that forms the epigraph is, America, America, God mend thy every flaw. Devil's Backbone. Driving along the Devil's Backbone, I'm running late this October morning, as the eponymous country roads, hills, and dips send my stomach rising and falling like an empire. Oh, okay, not that sensational, but still the news on the radio reports how one white man running for US Senate next door on Ohio's fruited plain rants against the theory, both critical and racial, tweeting even at the children of Martin Luther King Jr. that he knows better than they what thoroughfare of brotherhood their father beat for freedom. Amid such noise from this less than noble nation, a beautiful squirrel darts from amber underbrush along the margins, campaigns for space before my Goodyear tires. It's no match for my speed here beneath the spacious sky, my blue CRV, my alabaster hands, not Jesus, at the wheel. Once in another life, when I lived in that state, I voted for that guy. This morning, I am more hurried than Halcyon haze and crush the rural spine that fades into crimson hues now spattered on Hoosier macadam. I tried to avoid it, but I am more than complicit, forever separated from its family, its wealth of acorns nestled in the woods, its very shadow that used to follow its body, ascending the oaks and maples, now shedding their leaves. Does the squirrel cry on impact, though no one hears it, not even me, since Green Day's blaring on the radio? Charlatans, the candidate calls Bernice King and Martin Luther King III, who lost their dad to a stern patriot dream dimmed by endless tears. Can you hear the sound of hysteria? Billy Joe Armstrong retorts. I ruminate as I go, muttering aloud to no one, like what else? An idiot, murder under my nails like dirt, because once upon a time I was born into this supposed jubilee because I can't seem to stop the killing.
Wow, powerful, Julie. Thank you. Peter.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay. That's it's appropriate following up the
I
point
thought
by
so.
Julie. Yeah. I'm going to read Let America Be America Again by Langston Hughes. And I suspect that it's a familiar poem to most of you. But when I first read it back in the civil rights movement, you know, it was a very appropriate poem. And, you know, I go back to it every now and then, but then in the last 2 or 3 years, all of a sudden it took on a whole new meaning. And I think is even more apropos now than it was back in the 60s. And the amazing thing is that Hughes wrote it in 1927. And you think about that not a whole lot has changed, you know, during that time. So let America be America again. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great strong land of love, where never kings connive, nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker, sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean. Hungry, yet today, despite the dream, beaten yet today, O pioneers. I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker battered through the years. Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream. In the old world, why still a serf of kings who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings, and every brick and stone, and every furrow turned. That's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore and Poland's plain and England's grassy lea. And torn from black Africa's strand, I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me, surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed and all the songs we've sung and all the hopes we've held and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay except a dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me an ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again, America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we the people must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains and the endless plain, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America again. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
Hi, Isabel.
Hello.
Whenever you're ready.
Cool. So I'm Isabel. I'm a senior in high school, and I chose a poem that I wrote. I wrote this back in like the middle of February when there was a lot of crazy stuff going on, just in the world and in my personal life. And I wrote it out of catharsis. And I chose to share it tonight in hopes that it can be cathartic for other people and for people from all kinds of different generations. Do you remember back in your school days when your class was the guinea pigs? And sometimes that meant that you were special because you got the lesson plan that had been crafted with thought and passion, and it was a 55-minute period that you never forgot. But sometimes it felt like a punishment because the lesson was complicated, tedious, overwhelmingly hard, and then you felt hollow and you wished you could forget. Sometimes it feels like my generation is the guinea pigs, because sometimes we get advantages in society and technology and education, and it feels like we have the power to change the world. But we also get things like terrorism, racism, climate change, and a global pandemic, and now World War III. Maybe things will calm down, and maybe things will go back to normal. Maybe I'm just overreacting, but maybe this is just a complicated, tedious, overwhelmingly hard time to be alive. Maybe I already feel hollow, but maybe not yet, because I still feel scared and angry, sad and confused, and all the other things when life seems normal. It almost feels like it can't get worse, or this will be the last time that we're written in the history books. Maybe it's time that the human race ends because maybe we're just too far gone, and hopefully the end will be quick for the sake of the innocent. Maybe God will sit by and watch with tears in his eyes. Are they sorrowful tears that spring to his eyes as the children of art, music, beauty, and love burn on this mortal coil? Or are they tears of anger? Because how could the corrupt be so corrupted to make the pure suffer in life and in death? Maybe there is no God. So maybe there are more historic events lined up around the corner. And maybe the last one is already here. Maybe we're just the guinea pigs.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you. Hello, Steve Broidy.
Hi.
How are you doing?
So far, so good, but it's early.
Ah, you're up, sir.
This is a poem about spring repairs. Some repairs in the spring are easy, even natural, but some are of another sort. This is called Clearing Out, Clearing Up. Clearing out, cleaning up, April's job, my job, she told me. Lawn's alive again, long again. Henbit dead nettle pools and puddles flow all purple in rising wind. Pastures still heavy freckled in yellow, mustard, dandelion, sneak butterweed. Beeches bare of cleared old leaves. Eaves of the house of shed paint like old skin. Gray, shredding, picked over life on the crumbling roadway is dragged away by birds grim and black, absorbed in their task. As I set forth to fix the old season's breaches. The morning is dark, but the wheat fields glow green. A keen wind pushes my front door against me, as if to say, you stay while I work to blow the last ice away. I shove the door open, fight against the gale. My bushes and trees drop the night's rain like tears, like sweat. I set out my tools, shake off the pall of last night's cold words. Guess what grace my deeds may earn, clearing out, cleaning up, for what warmer days may come.
Oh, thank you. That was beautiful. I think I could listen to you all night. Well done. Hello, Grace.
Hi. I'm going to read.
Yep,
Okay,
go ahead.
I'm going to read two poems. The first one is To the Saguaro Cactus Tree in the Desert Rain by James Wright. He's another, an Ohio poet of the 20th century. And he is from Harper's Ferry. And I imagine him like me, an Ohioan, seeing the saguaro cactus in the Sonoran Desert for the first time. And I don't know why this poem has stuck with me. It's one that comes back to me now and then. And I don't know that it's a favorite, but it's kind of about longing and wistfulness and sadness. And there's some surprising juxtaposition. And I think that's what is appealing to me about it. I had no idea the elf owl crept into you in the secret of night. I have torn myself out of many bitter places in America that seemed tall and green-rooted in mid-noon. I wish I were the spare shadow of the roadrunner. I wish I were the honest lover of the diamondback and the tear the tarantula weeps. I had no idea you were so tall and blonde in moonlight. I got thirsty in the factories and I hated the brutal, dry suns there, so I quit. You were the shadow of a hallway in me. I have never gone through that door, but the elf owl's face is inside me. Saguaro, you are not one of the gods. Your green arms lower and gather me. I am an elf owl shadow, a secret member of your family. And I'm going to read another short poem of my own called Dandelions, which is Teeth of the Lions. It's the word from which dandelion is derived in English. And it's just a short, fun summer poem. Maybe I'm reading it to try to evoke summer. I need it. Anyway, dandelions. The light is sun-poled, rays drawn to the edge. Wherever it settles, it is. The light, not churm, but quiet, white flanked by lance-shaped spikes, and up. We sing it, curse it, grave, shallow, and slack, its taproot gnarled and splayed. Leaves toothed by like a clever carnivore and green, bold and fierce, like the beast of its dreams. Whatever it needs, it takes. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Albino. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Albino Carrillo. I'm actually from the desert Southwest in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I teach at the University of Dayton. I have a couple poems, one of mine. I use the phrase, the grasshopper lies heavy, which is a phrase from Ecclesiastes 12:15. Also the title of a book that doesn't really exist from a Philip K. Dick novel. I guess it's supposed to be a kind of warning. The first poem I have is from a magazine called Caliban Online, volume 33. It's called There Were Seconds in the Day When It Mattered. And I guess it's a complaint about advertising and commercialism. The advertising campaign is ended now, having won over a few new customers. Characters who made up the day we inhabit without pajamas or slippers we encounter in gray suits or black slacks cut and tailored for today's needs. Who knows who came before us, although they wore Timberland boots and took pictures of the lake. A man can talk about his life in certain ways. There is the high swell, midsummer. There's the drop off next to the canyon where muddy water breaches the earth flows indistinct. He cannot see himself in that water, waits for some kind of pool to form. It is almost mid-autumn when this happens, taking with him the last view of the cascade unwavering. So now back to the suits, the silk and wool Armani's worn in summer like a Cary Grant movie. By now, sheets of rain fell on the suburbs, large thick drops and chunks of hail beating back, for a while, the Little League game. It came to be the slow practice of those on the streets to carry a pair of rubber slip-on galoshes in case the flood came by. Dreadful images then consumed the past. Hangings, the bombings, 100 million humans once, 6 million again, another 100 million by now. In our next gimmick, we should try to be more coy, more forgiving of the masses' thirst. They cannot buy if they are carbonized by the god plutonium. If we let him, his vast purple hand will reach from all silos and mobile sites to touch us. No, the next scheme has to involve the movies or the reinvention of radio beamed to us, to our willing listeners who would pay $10 a month to hear Doris Day sing one more time. The second poem I have, I would suppose he's a really big influence of mine. It's Mr. John Ashbery from his book Self-Portrait in a Convex Mirror. One of my favorite pastimes is movies, and this poem is called 40s Flick. The shadow of the Venetian blind on the painted wall, shadows of the snake plant and cacti, the plaster animals, focus the tragic melancholy of the bridge of the bright stair into nowhere, a hole like the black holes in space. In bra and panties, she slides to the window, zip, up with the blind. A fragile street scene offers itself, with wafer-thin pedestrians who know where they are going. The blind comes down slowly, and slats are slowly tilted up. Why must it always end this way? A dais with a woman reading, with the ruckus of her hair and all that is unsaid about her, pulling us back to her, with her into silence that the night alone can't explain. Silence of the library, of the telephone with its pad. But we didn't have to reinvent these either. They had gone away into the plot of a story. The art part, knowing what important details to leave out and the way a character is developed. Things too real to be much of concern, hence artificial, yet now all over the page. The indoors with the outside becoming part of you as you find you had never left off laughing at death. The background, dark vine at the edge of a porch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello, Naya.
Hi.
Whenever you're ready.
So I actually wrote this piece. It was originally a flash fiction piece for a class, Mr. Andrew Yuker's class, and I just wasn't really settled with it, and I just didn't really like the way it was. So for months I've been tweaking it, and I've been writing other things, but I don't think I'm quite done, but this is where it's at now. It's called Red Light. The hum of my thoughts was too loud to remember grabbing my keys and walking down the driveway. Backing up took no thought at all. Simple mechanic motions. Check the mirror, put it in reverse, let off the brake. My car felt safe, despite the myriad of statistics proving otherwise. I don't remember when it started, but it persisted while struggling to pay attention in class, while trying desperately to eat, while begging Hypnos to let me sleep. It was deep within my stomach, crawling at my insides, whoring for my attention. I thought about my life before the behemoth feeling appeared as I turned onto a main road. It was easier to point out the good things in the world. Now there seems to be a hazy film, an uncolored coloring book. I remember listening to music, dancing, going out, caring. Turn signal, merge into the turning lane, wait for the cars to pass, press on the gas. This street was less busy, the kind of street that felt like putting on an old pair of shoes. One night, the point in the evening when only juvenile antics happen, I drove down the street with my friends. The music was loud, rebellious, and childish. Lights flashed. The road quickly disappeared beneath us. My head spun, something you don't want a driver to say. A smile that wasn't forced. Laughter. I turned down a residential street, slowing down to look at the houses twice the size of any house I've ever lived in. I used to go to a few parties on the street. Kate's house, Dylan's house, Jacob's house. Jacob's house. The last party I went to, the house had trembled with incomprehensible noise, or maybe that was just me trembling. Laughing, yelling, pushing, then suddenly pulling, tugging, a door shut. The noise became muffled, suddenly colder. My face was hot. Stop. Please. Eyes tightly pressed closed to make it go away, the way children think their blanket will stop the monsters from coming to eat them. I turned onto a faster road. That was when it started. That's when the hellions started scratching, the raw etchings marking my insides again. Turn the radio on, turn the radio off, turn it on, change the station, turn it off. My seatbelt squeezed my lungs until I couldn't breathe. The quietness of my car was suffocating. The taste of my own tongue turned sour. I wasn't crying, but my sight was blurred. Maybe I was. Green light, yellow light, red light, red light, red light.
Thank you, Naya. Hi, Aimee.
Hi. Thank you for gathering us all together. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share one of my favorite poems. I'm going to be reading How to Triumph Like a Girl by Ada Limon, and it's from her collection, Bright Dead Things. This is about the Oaks Day run. It's the race that happens right the day before the Kentucky Derby, and it's for the fillies. It's for the 3-year-old female horses run on Oaks Day. How to Triumph Like a Girl. I like the lady horses best. How they make it all look easy. Like running 40 miles per hour is as fun as taking a nap or grass. I like their lady horse swagger after winning. Ears up, girls, ears up. But mainly, let's be honest, I like that they're ladies. As if this big, dangerous animal is also a part of me, that somewhere inside the delicate skin of me, there pumps an 8-pound female horse heart, giant with power, heavy with blood. Don't you want to believe it? Don't you want to lift my shirt and see the huge beating genius machine that thinks, no, it knows it's going to come in first? Thank you.
That was great. Thank you, Aimee. Hi, Betsy.
Hello.
It's good to see you.
It is good to be here, and thank you, Debbie, for this wonderful program.
You're
In
welcome.
honor of April being Poetry Month, I chose to read Kubla Khan by Samuel Taylor Coleridge because it celebrates the power of the creative imagination and ends with a sense that the poet is divinely inspired. I invite you to close your eyes while you're listening so that you can see and participate in the vision that Coleridge has here. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alph, the sacred river, ran through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground with walls and towers were girdled round, and there were gardens bright with sinuous rills where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree. And here were forests, ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. But oh, that deep romantic chasm which slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover, a savage place, as holy and enchanted as ere beneath a waning moon was haunted by woman wailing for her demon lover. And from this chasm, with ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this earth in fast, thick pants were breathing, a mighty fountain momently was forced, amid whose swift half-intermittent burst, huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail, or chaffy grain beneath the thresher's flail. And mid these dancing rocks at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river. 5 miles meandering with a mazy motion, through wood and dale, the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult, Kubla heard from far ancestral voices prophesying war. The shadow of the dome of pleasure floated midway on the waves, where was heard the mingled measure from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice. A damsel with a dulcimer in a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcimer she played, singing of Mount Abara. Could I revive within me her symphony and song? To such a deep delight 'twould win me, that with music loud and long, I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice. And all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, beware, beware, his flashing eyes, his floating hair. Weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dread. For he on honeydew hath fed and drunk the milk of paradise.
Oh, that was great. Thank you, Betsy. That was excellent. Hello, TJ.
Hi. Is it, you hear me now?
I sure can, whenever
Okay.
you're ready.
Well, I
Yeah.
just like to clear the air real quick and say that despite what my screen says, my name is not Chucky. I don't know why it says Chucky. I think my 11-year-old daughter might have been playing a prank on me, knowing that I was going to be doing Zoom. And so kudos to her, but points off for misspelling Chucky. Okay, so I'm going to read 2 short poems. One of them is super short, the other one's just regular short. First one is by a poet that you may be familiar with. His name is Billy Collins, and it's called Embrace. You know the parlor trick. Wrap your arms around your own body, and from the back, it looks like someone is embracing you. Her hands grasping your shirt, her fingernails teasing your neck. From the front, it is another story. You never looked so alone. Your crossed elbows and screwy grin. You could be waiting for a tailor to fit you for a straitjacket. One that would hold you really tight. And the idea from it came from driving to and from taking my daughters to school every day. I sometimes like to play classical music for them, going on the theory that, you know, if you play classical music to children in early development, that it somehow improves cognitive skills. And you know, I might have bought into that thinking, well, I play classical music for my daughters. But honestly, and it's specifically for Mozart that this theory is. And I thought, well, it's kind of silly because to an untrained ear, Beethoven, Handel, Haydn, and Mozart all sound pretty similar. So I'm thinking, well, why Mozart? You know, if it's either all of them or none of them. You know, so anyway, this is called the Mozart effect. Did Mozart know he was writing music that will make you smarter? Or how studies would claim just being within earshot of 2 pianos in D major is equal to reading 2 volumes of standard encyclopedias? That one can measure improved cognitive abilities with the passing of measures is truly immeasurable. And here I am in the Wendy's drive-through as the classical station plays one of Wolfgang's most famous concertos. It's an instantly recognizable piece, flashy, dance-like movement, both forceful and elegant. It hits me with a jolt, the long dead circuitry of my brain's main breaker. The entire housing unit of misfired synapses finally fit with newer fuses like a rebooted powerhouse. I feel the points of my IQ rising. A grand swell of violins hand me an honorary degree that was signed by a wonderful wizard. I, brainless, am now able to square the hypotenuse of the right triangle that is equal to the sum of the remaining sides. Suddenly, a quadruple 2,000-calorie cheeseburger combo meal with upsized fries no longer seems intelligent. I swerve smartly with some kind of kill meets plant-based chicken salad in mind. Kale to the yes. I yell this as I pull away to begin a new life with my farm fresh genius. Except that the host of this classical broadcast, which has recently enlightened me, just revealed I was listening to that beef-witted Beethoven. So never mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody see Sierra's name? I don't see it. If you do, send me a note in the chat because I didn't see her sign on. So David, we're going to go to you. I'm going to put the spotlight on you. And Sierra was going to read these 2 poems. So we'll just catch her next time unless she's here, and then I'll go back to her. So here's David.
Okay, I have to admit that I put in my favorite poem so long ago that I couldn't remember what it was. And now I'm looking at it, and it is a great poem, but I don't have it at hand. So
read whatever you want.
All right, fine.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Debbie.
All right, David.
Okay, I'm David Garrison. I'm going to read a poem by Danusha Lamaris. She's a young woman from California. Her first book came out a few years ago and made quite a big splash. It's called The Moons of August. And the poem is about kindness, and the title is Small Kindnesses. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs and let you by. Or how strangers still say, bless you, when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we are saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you to the person handing it, to smile at them and for them to smile back, for the waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of clam chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire. Only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy, these fleeting temples we make together when we say, here, have my seat. Go ahead, you first. I like your hat. Thank you.
I liked it. Thank you very much. All right. Herb, I'm looking for you. There you are. Wait, here's chat. Let me see. Okay. All right, Herb. You're in the spotlight. Are you ready, Herb?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All righty. You're
I'm
on, sir.
reading- Sorry,
Go ahead.
I'm reading from 2 volumes that came out in 2019 and 2020, when probably few opportunities were available. But the first one is by me, and it says, "Don't forget me. Mention my name now and then." And that was a dishwasher who was 36 years old, and he was dying of AIDS. And most of these poems that I'm going to read are a kind of conversation between him and his mother. 1. His mother used castor oil for everything in sight, and for some things which were never going to be within sight. Castor's oil could clean the house, even a small house of comfort whose floorboards remind you of a painful history and promised immortality. His mother was not promised anything. She lived in a house where the crevices splintered away under a fine dust. She always said, if you clean with castor's oil, you will discover a fine cleanliness. You will discover a fine cleanliness. That oil will not dry away or crack when the coal freezes its inhabitants. It is like a passion sculpting away at a rock. It is the pumice that softens the unfaithful lover. Remember to keep it away from light and heat. Its odor is gravely felt. Lord, Mama, is what you are saying true? Child, she huffed and puffed. We knew what was true before the scientists knew what the answers were. You need to listen a little more carefully to that which is naturally said, and then you act. True is true, always will be. Lies are like poison ivy, and you have to chop and chop until you get to the last part of the root. And as soon as you turn your back, it's poking its smallest leaf out of the ground somewhere else to continue to give you trouble. Fire is the rightful enemy of every illness. God is right, child. Fire is the only way to root out poison. You see, water only worked once, and then the people started to acting ignorant again. Now he has to come back here and do the job all over again with fire. Fire, I'm telling you. XLIII for Gordon Richardson. So I say my dying is a prison no longer. I have no fear of it. I have seen a bright and capable light. He has dismantled all of my personal fears. LVII. Turbulence is alive in my bones, my cells, my synapse, corpuscles, arteries, and veins all recognize the mortality of the flesh. It announces my natural end. LXII. This body is my mortal house. Its aura is secular. There are no sacred healing balms. There is nothing here to wash away human affliction. There is nothing here to hinder the pain which creeps upon me. LVIII. In severest mercy, burn this body. In blessed forgiveness, temper this body as one might temper steel or iron ore. Heat it, melt it, burn it into malleable substances, boil and cool and separate it from its impurities. Make this body into a shape that can endure redemption. And the last poem is Fish Story. It is from The Shape of Regret. Fish Story. Nobody condones absences. The subway is a disco of sexual energy, pulsing its way toward some incline or cul-de-sac, leading toward purgatory, leaving behind a photograph of its speed, which takes me back to wondering what it is, the ethical thing to do about lateness or absences. A housewife spends her days trying to cook up reasons for lost time. She is an express subway trying to achieve a goal with as few steps as possible. Speed is an old world mosaic taking us toward a special ceremony, a careful winter's tale that suggests what an evolutionary fish story might sound like. It is as if it is told in regards to our human heritage, whose days never seem to end. Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. Wow, everybody, that was great. I can't thank you enough for joining us this evening. That concludes our program. It will be available on the library's YouTube channel soon, and I'll let you know when we've posted it. Again, thank you to all of the poets, the magnificent poets of tonight, and our readers. Just a lovely evening. Thank you so very much. And I hope you have a good evening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
everybody. It's just absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Absolutely wonderful.
Thanks
Yeah.
so
Cheers
much.
to everybody.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Debbie.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Debbie.
Aha.
Thanks,
Thank
Deb.
you, Debbie.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bye, Raj.
Hi.
Good night, all.
Good night, all.
Night
night.
all.
Night. Bless you.
Night, John Boy.
Hey, hey, Herb. Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Hi
great
there.
job, Herb.
you.
Great job,
Great job.
everybody.
Great
Really.
job, everybody. Wonderful.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Thanks.
Thank
Take
you.
care.